You know what it's like. You're having a good marketing meeting at the law firm, everyone is engaged, and you feel there's some chemistry in the air. But then the conversation turns digital. Terms and acronyms that belong in a Tom Clancy novel start flying across the room. Engagement analytics, SEO, PPC, CTR. The meeting takes a turn for the confusing. Yes, you know it's 2018 and the world is increasingly digital, with clients and customers all using the web to find products and services. But what about offline? What about the world outside our phones? What about handshakes? What about business cards? What about lunches? Wasn't there a time not too long ago when there was no line to be on or off of? How did we survive? Offline marketing strategies like relationship management, networking, print or mass media make your online strategies like social media, digital advertising, content marketing stronger, more thorough, more lifelike. What if you could find a meaningful way to bridge the online and the offline? Connect lunch with LinkedIn, FaceTime with Facebook, handshakes with hyperlinks. Well, that's what we're talking about today. Finding lawsome ways for you to bridge the digital and real world. Let's go.
Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by Consultwebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms that's been recognized by NASA as a natural satellite above Earth. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in personal and business development. On the show today, Paul and I hit the hot takes buffet with an article from lexicata.com on effective ways to market your law firm. We interviewed Nick Pavlidis from Attorney Marketing Institute, and as always, we put our guest on the bench for 10 questions we ask everyone. I'm your host, Jake Sanders. With me, as always, fresh out of the Witness Protection Program, Paul Julius.
Don't tell anybody, but I'm here.
It's too late for that.
They know, Jake, they know.
So let's go right into the news segment.
Pull up a plate. It's the hot takes buffet.
4 reasons why marketing a law firm online is more effective than offline, written by Aaron George here on lexicata.com. Very briefly, law has traditionally been a relationship-based business, which means most firms rely heavily on referrals to get clients. Referrals are great, but they're also unpredictable, and it's hard to build a business on unpredictable marketing challenges. Yeah, that makes sense. So the 4 reasons is reach more prospects. 2, attract better clients. 3, precision targeting. 4, better attribution and reporting. Paul, as a marketer that has worked with hundreds of law firms, what are your thoughts on these 4 simple reasons connecting online and offline?
I love the 4 steps. It's like step 1, admit that you have a marketing problem. It can go either way. I think the biggest thing that she seems to be getting to here is that there's this, you have a lot more targeting methods and you have a lot more data and kind of control over that stuff. Yeah. So if we were going to kind of compare it to maybe TV advertising or a billboard or the yellow pages or, whatever, it's really hard to measure those results, you know, and I'm sure like TV ads, it's really hard. Like you're not really sure unless you turn them off and turn them back on again. What did I get out of that?
Well, and the worst part is when you ask people if they saw you on TV, they'll just say yes because you've set up the way you ask. How'd you hear about us? Was it TV? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, that was it. So you have to really be careful about the way you get that information, and it's unreliable, sort of like eyewitness testimony,
Right. Yeah, like your first question when you should ask is like, so how'd you hear about us? Carrier pigeon?
It's the lone pigeon. His name's Steve. we put a call to action in his claw.
We tested. Yeah, we tested.
What's the return on that pigeon?
Hey, we may be onto something here.
Don't.
But I guess so. You do have all this stuff online, and obviously working for an online marketing agency, I'm a big proponent of getting online. I mean, there is a lot to what she says, But I think the other side of it is that it's not as easy as just being like, well, I got a website. Why isn't my phone ringing? You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of create, once you open that Pandora's box, you're going to find there's a lot more to it. It's not so simple as just being like, yeah, man, I set up a couple profiles and got my website going. So now I'm online. Like, well, no, there's a lot more to that than just, these four simple things,
right?
Kind of allude to.
Well, and it seems like it's more of a tactical approach versus a strategic approach. So a lawyer or a law firm, from a small or an individual level is looking at this and saying, who's going to do this? So, I mean, yeah, I could be more digital, but how am I going to do this along with trying to deliver 100% of, my work ethic towards my clients? When am I going to find time to be a digital marketer? When they're having problems just answering emails or billing hours, because I know that's a real struggle for folks. So this kind of just do these four things. You can set them up, but who's going to follow up? Who's going to make sure? Who's going to check? Who's going to, report on these successes? So while it's simple in its presentation, I think it leads to more complications that lawyers need to consider from a strategic level to make sure that it's something that you want to incorporate long term with your practice and something that you can work alongside of. You don't want to have a fancy dashboard that you never go back to. You spent $6,000 to get this dashboard and you never look at it. I know that that's a reality, so people have to really be considerate and think from a very strategic level.
It snowballs too, so you get in there and you do a little bit and like, oh, that's great. I'm in these directories and I got some Google reviews and that's awesome. But then you start to find out more about like optimizing those reviews and how to get better results. So now you're going, deeper down the rabbit hole and you find out about like, data science and you have to learn all these different things. And it's like all of a sudden, you're working for your marketing instead of it working for you. You know what I mean?
Sure. And another reason I saw somebody clap back. I saw a lawyer clap back on Yelp to someone who gave a negative review and basically detailed the entire case and said, you said that we were going to do this much, we got you this amount of money. I mean, it was the worst example of like it's a data breach for sure, but this guy's just trying to slap his client around and saying like, look, everybody, that wasn't the way it went. Let me tell you everything about this client, and that was a main partner for a law firm here in Colorado. It was astonishing. So it's something that I made sure, at the law firm that I was working with, you got to be very mindful in the way that you interact with this digital stuff, because one misstep, you could be getting blasted, or you could even get, grieved, or, something could happen to your, the way you're sitting at the bar. So just be careful. You can't just jump in,
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, it's, like you said, it's being strategic. It's being mindful. It's saying, okay, even though there is this, wild west of the internet that you can get yourself onto, be sure that you have a realistic understanding, even if it means like scaling back and saying, okay, let's try Facebook. What is it? What are my expectations? Kind of what do I think might happen? What are some possible negatives? And, kind of learn how to do it like, little chunks at a time.
It's beautiful. Well said. So let's head over to the interview, because Nick Pavlidis is going to give us a giant baked potato of all of this information, helping us connect offline and online. Let's head to the interview.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
I met Tanner, who works for Consultwebs, on a plane on the way back from Key West, Florida. And I'd just been thinking that I needed to do some more marketing for my law firm. So when he told me that he worked for Consultwebs, I was super excited. From the beginning till even now, I've been with them for almost 2 years, and the experience has really been great. Having Consultwebs on board is really like having your own team of people that really care about what kind of business you're getting. I mean, practicing law can seem kind of lonely. You always are wondering, how am I going to get clients? How am I going to make payroll? But with Consultwebs, it's not just me worrying about having people come in the door. They're there as well. And they've been so responsive. Since I started with Consultwebs, I have increased the number of employees double at least. And since I started with Consultwebs, the revenue has tripled. It's really been an incredible experience.
Go to consultwebs.com to learn more.
And now, for a lawsome interview.
Nick Pavlidis is an attorney with a JD from Boston College of Law. He has decades of experience in commercial and bankruptcy litigation, working with large and small firms. He's also served as in-house counsel for several multinational corporations. Nick is also the founder of Attorney Marketing Institute and AuthorityGhostwriting.com, where he helps lawyers and law firms get the most out of their marketing efforts through coaching, consultation, and content creation services, all of which has led him to be on Lawsome today. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jake. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate spending a little time with you and Paul today.
Why the switch from full-time attorney to full-time attorney marketing expert? Are you still doing a law or?
Not if I can avoid it. Yeah, so I worked at a large law firm for a little over a decade, give or take, right out of law school. I went there. I loved it. I was in New York City, a large law firm, corner office, all that stuff. And it was exciting, except it put too much emphasis on one part of me. So I wanted to have a little bit more enjoyment outside of the law firm. My family was small and growing. I wanted to spend more time with the kids. I loved marketing. I loved networking, but I didn't so much love the law part of it. I loved writing. I loved speaking, all that stuff, but just fighting people all day over some things that made no sense, like trying to spend hours and hours negotiating whether we're going to have a 90-day extension or a 60-day extension. I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I started reading and learning and just really trying to find out if there's a way to, prevent my kids from getting too skinny without practicing law and just applying the things that I knew. So I took about 2.5 years, really. I took my time. I didn't want to kill the proverbial goose that was laying the golden eggs until I knew that I had something else to go into. So I shifted what I did. That's when I went in-house. I reached out to a client that I had introduced to my firm and said, "Hey, do you need a lawyer?" And they said, "No." And I said, "Well, do you want a lawyer?" And they said, "Not really." And I said, "Well, I need a job because I'm going to be leaving this place, and I'd love to work with you because you're located in Massachusetts, and that's where I want to be." So they said, "Well, I think it was June or so. No, it was June, the beginning of June." And they said, "Well, it's the middle of the year. Talk to your firm, see how much time you can get there, how much notice you have to give or whatever, and we can figure something out for next year." So I did, and my firm let me stay on for 10 months, give or take, until the end of February. And I said, "Look, I'm going to be transitioning. I'm going to be going in-house. I just want a new situation for my family." So we negotiated a deal, and I negotiated things that I wanted that had nothing to do with money to allow me to build what I have now, which is these two really fun companies to run that really exercise all my creative muscles and allow me to have so much fun both in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
That's awesome. And so how long ago was that from today? How long have you been doing Attorney Marketing Institute?
I've been doing attorney part-time, very part-time for a few years, from the marketing consultation time, and then full-time since the middle of, or I guess the end of the summer of 2016. So about almost a year and a half at this point, full-time.
Awesome, man. So what legal practice areas do you find yourself helping most in? What area of law is asking for the most guidance? Have you seen? Is it personal injury, family, criminal?
The most is probably criminal who come to me. The criminal defense lawyers, because they find it very reactive the way they market. The way they traditionally market. They're looking to just get online reviews. They're looking to get, and it all seems to be very tactical, and they feel like they don't have any control almost because they just need to sit around and wait for someone to get arrested in their mind to market their practice. Yeah. So what do, right? So they come to me, and the things that I do more education, direction, strategy, and not so much the tactical stuff, although I do help with some of that stuff. But really where I shine is helping people get their strategy, get in their client's mind and their future client's mind, and meet the three types of people who they need to meet to start having a pipeline, as opposed to just having to spend thousands of dollars a month to be on some list to get on the first page of Google and hope that someone clicks on that list and then notices you among 15 people on that list of lawyers in your area.
Yeah, well said, man. So when it comes to your clients, lawyers new to marketing, what is a common misconception about marketing?
That it's tactical, that it's all tactical. There's just many lawyers, when they think of marketing, they're thinking of sales and they're thinking of advertising. They're not thinking of really marketing, growing a group of people who are ready to either refer someone to you or to be your client in the future. It's all very, very one-off, very small focused, and not very buyer persona, buyer client purchase strategy, purchase process focused. And that's where I help them do. I say, wait, okay, who do you need to meet? Who are the prospects you need to meet? And three people are prospects, influencers, and gatekeepers. I use the PIG acronym. I hesitantly use the PIG acronym, but it grew so popular that I just finally just gave in, because the pigs can bring you the bacon. So PIG acronym, and I don't mean it in any derogatory sort of way, right. But P, prospects, I, influencers, G, gatekeepers. Your gatekeepers are the people who you want to network with, who serve your clients, who your clients pay money, your future clients pay money to. You can do some really great stuff together just to help each other grow your depth of connection and grow your network of prospective and actual clients. Influencers are the people like journalists, reporters, social media influencers, all these types of people who share content with your clients and future clients. You can get them to quote you. You can get them to let you guest post on a publication. You can build a relationship with them so you can build your authority, and you have your clients who are picking up their magazines or their industry trade magazines or their online publications they're subscribing to, and they get to know you, and you're borrowing a little bit of their credibility because they thought you were important enough to put in there. And then obviously prospects. So most lawyers just focus on prospect tactics and they just let the rest of it go. And a lot of it's really just not strategic. They just pick every quote unquote opportunity that they think comes. Oh, it's a networking event, I'll go. Yeah, well, it's a networking event at a hair salon, and it's all people who serve, the beauty industry, and you have nothing to do with that.
Right. Good point.
So, Nick, this is Paul. I have a question kind of to follow up on that. It's something that a lot of people, a lot of lawyers that we talk to get kind of confused about is this concept of brand. And I'm kind of wondering, does that sort of tie into what you're talking about there with, having something that you're sort of identified as when you're starting to reach out to these different groups of people?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not positioned, one of the things that I do is I niche so deep in my marketing. I have two businesses. One's the ghostwriting agency that you mentioned, and the other one is Attorney Marketing Institute. So my content team writes content and I write content for more than just lawyers. In fact, most of our clients aren't lawyers, and even many of our Attorney Marketing Institute clients aren't lawyers, but they see my content and it's all about, hey, if you want to meet the right people with your law firm, these are the things to do. And they make that connection in their heads. So there's a mortgage guy who came over. He said, hey, I got this. I need the same thing. I'm no different than a lawyer. I'm a service provider, whatever. CPAs, lots of different people. I could go through public speakers, online course sellers, all these things. They come not because I'm marketing to them, but because I'm niched and I'm focused and I have my brand. I help lawyers do this. I help lawyers build better practices in less time. And they see it and they make that connection. So by them focusing on their ideal client, it allows them to do two things. If they have their brand that positions them, how do your clients hire? Who do they want to hire? What is the type of person they want to hire? What do they look like? What do they present themselves like? What is their personality type? And if it's consistent with yours, it's a great match. So you create that brand online, you speak to your ideal client. Your ideal client will then reach out to you more likely than not, because they don't have to make that connection. But what that also does is it allows you to focus on what you do well substantively and have other people who you can either choose to work with or not reach out to you who are really motivated, because you're not selling to them at all. In fact, you're ignoring them as far as technically, right? You're just writing to other people and specifically telling them, you call me, and not saying anything about anyone else. So you get your ideal clients to reach out to you, and you get really motivated people who aren't your ideal clients to come to you for ideal services. So you get to, and that's what we've done with both of my businesses, is I really only promote Attorney Marketing Institute, and I only share social content on about lawyers. And it brings me such a great, enthusiastic, motivated, growth-minded group of clients that it makes my job great. It just makes it so much fun. So for lawyers to do the same thing, if you have an ideal, it's a really great way to transition your practice, is to keep that golden goose, like I did with my law practice to get a salary as an in-house attorney. Keep that golden goose moving forward, but transition your branding online so that it positions you to meet the ideal people and have them come in. And then as that starts coming in, you can transition out by not accepting new clients that aren't in your ideal client mix.
That's beautiful, man. So
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's totally brilliant. So one of my questions is sort of how the concept of marketing gets into business strategy, because you said they think it's tactics, and so those are just steps that are part of a larger strategy. How you position the firm can affect how you're running the firm. What should our audience know about this relationship? And is everything they do marketing? Is it helpful for them to consider that everything is marketing, or every opportunity is a marketing opportunity? What are your thoughts on that, Nick?
First, absolutely. Every time you walk out of the house, people are going to look at you, and they are going to see the shoes you're wearing. They're going to see the belt you're wearing. They're going to see the clothes you're wearing, and they're going to make a judgment on you. So I don't suggest, and I am not someone to leave the house in a 3-piece suit. In fact, I don't even know the last time I wore my suit. It's for maybe a month ago at this point. But I position myself as a conversational guy, and my dress, everything is consistent with that. So I would say very passively, yes. And the best way to do that is to match what you want to what you're comfortable with. So if you want to build a practice where you need to wear a 3-piece suit and you're not comfortable wearing a 3-piece suit, then it's probably not a great fit for you. Explore it a little deeper and find a practice. If you love wearing jeans, maybe you're going to represent musicians, or maybe you want to go into some other type of law where you can be comfortable in your clothes and have it be an asset for you. So I think a lot of people, they just get focused on the how before they know what, why, and who. So what are you trying to build? Why do you want to build that personally? Why do you want to build that? And then who do you need to meet in order to build that? Then you focus on how you meet those people and then get them to want to do business with you.
It's brilliant, man. So people probably don't know, but I came across Nick on Twitter. I was running the Twitter for Lawsome, and he tweeted, if you're spending more than 1 hour a week marketing for your law firm, you're wasting your time. You're doing it wrong. I incredulously replied to him and asked him, what's the catch? So I said, I'll bite. And then he responded, don't bite. But so you broke apart the PIG acronym. Are there any other filters that maybe lawyers should be considerate of in their day-to-day practice or how they approach things? Because the filtration of prospects, influencers, and gatekeepers is brilliant. And it really, I'll make sure to share everybody a link to that thread that Nick gave us. But filtration, focus, this seems like it's a really big area of interest for you. Is it just because you've seen millions of dollars go out the door and people waste lives and careers because they just weren't drilling down?
Yeah, I think it all plays into the filter, but another part of the filter really is that what, why, and who. Really explore what you want to build. And a lot of people, especially in the large law firms, a lot of people end up practicing in an area, and when they shift afterwards, they practice in an area, they go solo or something like that, just based on what offer they got out of law school. They got 2 offers, and one of them paid an extra $10,000 a year, so they decided to go there. And then they were assigned to the corporate litigation group or commercial litigation group because they were told you're a good speaker and you write okay, but you are a talented strategist. So that's what we need there. So you're a litigator, or because someone happened to leave and they had an empty chair somewhere, so you became a real estate lawyer, and they just go through their entire life practicing an area of law because it was just what one firm wanted of them at one time. So all of these things, if you go too far into the weeds, you're going to end up miserable, burnt out, and really ineffective because you're not going to want to do the work. You're going to dread doing the work, and you're not going to do a great job. You're going to get it done. You're probably not even going to proofread it. You're just going to send it out because you're just so glad to be at the end and have all of your headings, together. So I encourage people to take that time up front to really dig into what they want in their personal life and not just their business life, so they can set those boundaries around it. So yes, it's not just you need a few things to get to that PIG acronym, to know who you want to meet, to know who your prospects are, to know what who your influencers are and your gatekeepers. So what do you want your relationship to work to be? Do you want to be known as the person who's always available? That's how I was known for my entire time at the law firm. In fact, before I went out to the firm, I told a realtor, I said, I don't care what the rent is. I want you to find me the closest studio apartment to my office. And she found me. My office was at 52nd and Broadway. And she found me an apartment at 52nd and 8th, which, if you're not familiar with New York City, it's literally the same block. I didn't even need to cross the street. I'd go down one elevator, take a left, walk about 35 steps, and take another elevator up. So that did some great things for me. I became the guy who's the most reliable guy in the firm, but also I could go home anytime I want, and I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd get a message on my BlackBerry at the time. Hey, why are there no litigators here? I need some help. And responded, oh, I'm there. I must have just missed you. And then just quickly went back to work. I'll be up in 5 minutes. So but I didn't want that relationship. I had no idea. My father flips burgers for a living. My mother works the cash register out front. I had no idea what it was like to be in control or to set boundaries in the office. My parents still work 70 hours a week. So focus on how you want your life to be. Because if you just love music and you want to go into music law, but you realize you got to travel to all these concerts and whatever, it's not going to be great. So focus on what you want your life to be like. And if you're a firm, really do this on an attorney level. Because if you're hiring people who are just talented, but they don't want to be there, they're not going to be there long. So you're going to have to spend more money on recruiters. You're going to have to spend more money training. You're going to get so frustrated. You're going to have to do more work yourself. You're going to send out things with typos, and it's not going to be good for anybody. So you can right the ship. You can get everyone in the right roles by really just conceding that people are people, and then trying to make that part of your plan.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, from an ad concept, from a marketer, I mean, it's the same thing. If you're coming up with an ad campaign or you're thinking of a way to position someone, you need to start from the bottom, because everyone starts like, oh, we'll make $1 million or it'll go viral, which is the worst thing. You really need to spend time doing the work before you set out. And I love that. So on your site, you highlight 3 big mistakes lawyers and law firms are making on social media. Could you break apart maybe those briefly?
Sure. The first thing they do is they do it without a plan. So they go there and they're not sure what they're posting. They're just posting things that are really just links to their articles, and it just sounds like a megaphone. It's like someone screaming at you. It's all salesy. No one cares about it. They're putting these headings that are like the FDA just blah 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 blah, law number this or whatever.
Yep.
And who cares? No one cares. So. But if the FDA did something that makes cancer treatment more expensive or whatever, or just banned something that's a holistic remedy for something or whatever, say that. Use your content to speak to the people, your influencers, your gatekeepers, your prospects. Use your social media channel to speak in their language and to connect with them, because that's how you get attention. So you get attention by making it not about you. So stop treating social media like a megaphone and start treating it like a telephone. Your posts need to be the beginning of a conversation, not the end of a conversation. And it's not just by asking questions. You see all these people who are just like, what's your biggest with whatever. I post those things, but also just share helpful stuff, because people are going to remember Nick was helpful. I could not figure out the 8 places on Facebook that I can use to convert people from fans into contacts. I had no idea. And then Nick just showed me to click one place, and I didn't even think, I click there all the time, but I didn't think to put a link there or whatever it is. They just remember being helpful. And when they say, all right, you know what, I'm going to focus on social media, who do they call? They call the person who was helpful to them, or they go back to that feed and see if there's anything more helpful, get on their email list or whatever. And lawyers need to think this way too. Get people on your newsletter list, because when you have their contact information, it allows you to build a relationship with them. It doesn't have to be hard. I tell people even once a month, share 3 things: what I'm reading, what I'm doing, and what I'm excited about. And just 3 little simple things. Just say, hey, I'm reading this. It's a great way to connect with influencers. You share an influencer's post and then you forward it to them and say, hey, I just want to let you know I sent this to all my clients. Great way to build a relationship. Number 2, what I'm doing, just simple. Hey, we're doing this at this, at this event or whatever. We're excited about it. Not a big deal. And then the other thing, what are you excited about? Could be a community event or something like that. But having that information allows you to then, if you are to be doing ad strategy, you can use that email list to upload to Facebook to create an audience to actually be on their feed and not just rely on however many 1% that you get to reach when you post an organic post on Facebook. So really, the number one thing is they don't have that conversation. So they don't convert people off of social media into a contact list so they can then use that. It's all interrelated, but it's all very simple once you have that time up front. The number 2 thing is they go at it alone. They post this firm post, they post. They don't follow anyone back because they want to be looked at as like a 10-to-1 followership and important or whatever. And they don't follow anyone back. And they just sit there and they make no connections. And with social media these days, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, most of the feeds of the sites, the big sites, aren't sharing things chronologically unless you type a little code in that nobody does but me. So they don't share things that are chronologically organized. They share it based on engagement. So if you have a team of 30 lawyers and you have your social account, and even if 4 of them will retweet, like, engage with your content, and vice versa, if you create a sharing team both within and outside your firm with your gatekeepers and the influencers, you build relationships, so that way not the same 6 people are sharing your stuff every time, but you have a real group of people helping each other out, your posts are going to be on top for free of other people's news feeds. So they try to do it alone as this big company, this big corporate professional company up in the clouds, and it gets them nothing. It just, the megaphone, they go at it alone. And then the other thing is sort of what I mentioned is they don't focus on bringing people off of these social channels and into their contact list. It has so many benefits. It allows you to build real relationships. And if you do it well, you're preparing your clients even better. If you're a criminal lawyer and you can put together a checklist and a downloadable sheet with your firm address down the bottom that says 10 things to do after you get arrested, and it leads them to prepare all of the documents. They go to the police station, they get the police report, they do all these things. Who are they going to call once they do that? Of course they're going to call you. They're going to call you, and then they're going to show up prepared. So you don't spend 3 hours doing intake. You spend 45 minutes and you get your money.
The theme of our show is bridging the digital and the real world, because there are a lot of savvy people, but just like you mentioned, not a lot of people know the chronological code to put on Twitter to, hijack a news feed or get into a group, or, there's a lot of people who are running giant billboards, or they're big on TV, and what do you tell these kind of like establishment older hands? How do you help clients connect their offline worlds with their online efforts?
I do two things. One is I focus on building momentum as opposed to just a bunch of different tactics and a bunch of different targets and stuff like that. So I try to implement just one thing at a time to just show them, to get them more comfortable. The number one thing people can do if they're just starting is to start in person. Be very simple online, post at least once a day, and there is software you can use to schedule things out and have it recur and stuff like that. But post one helpful thing a day at least so you have active accounts, because when people meet you now, whether it's in person or online, one of the first things they're going to do if they're considering engaging with you more, hiring you, or meeting you again, is they're going to Google you. And social media sites help you push good stuff up, because social media sites have a lot of juice. People will find your sites, your Twitter feed, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever's relevant in your world. They will go there, and if you haven't posted in 6 months, it puts a distaste in their mouth. It makes it just doesn't position you Great. So for 10 minutes a month, you could schedule out a whole month's worth of daily posts very simply. So I encourage them to do things very, very slowly, but focus on the highest value things first. So if you're bridging the offline with the online, the best thing you can do is pick 1 or 2 social channels that are relevant to the places you want to go, not necessarily where you are. I always encourage Twitter. It is not a great place to meet tons of clients, but every influencer and many gatekeepers are there. It's a great way to get people, journalists and writers and stuff like that. It's a great way to get their attention. If you find something on CNBC, especially that's about some sort of a news event, and many times people share it and they're like, great article, or they don't even share it. They just share the post that says something blah, blah, blah at CNBC. But if you look on CNBC, every single one of their posts has the author's Twitter bio right there linked to it. And many times, the majority even, it is a freelance writer who's got 1,200 followers, which is a lot, but it's not some million person following. So if you instead go to Twitter and write great post by at the writer's handle about whatever it's about, if you are and then insert your ideal client persona there and have 3 minutes to read anything today, read this. Then you post that same thing. You're going to get their attention. They're going to be happy. And as you start doing this type of stuff more and more, you network. So I encourage people just to have a little bit of an active account. Just focus on 1 post a day that's relevant to where you want to go. It might be sharing something like an influencer's feed. It might just be sit down for 10 minutes and think of the last 10 questions clients asked you and then write answers to them. And then you can schedule them out and just be real simple about it. Just be helpful. Don't worry about pictures, although it's great. And you should eventually, that's a great thing to do. Just worry about getting your feed active, because that allows you to bridge that gap. When people do that research, they meet you in person, they look for you online, and then they say they're active. And then you still have that positive sort of momentum building towards them wanting to do business with you. Once you get that, that's when you can optimize things. You could certainly set up your sites to be conversion focused by having links in the right places and stuff like that. But don't worry about that. Just get them active. Then you build on that to the next step, not every step at once.
Nice. Paul, again, I just, one thing that struck me when we were talking about, especially some of these more actionable, I mean, you're giving people a real plan here. I mean, something they can literally go and do. And one thing that struck me is a lot of times we run into a situation where it's a firm that has maybe 8 or 10 partners, and they may have been around for a while. And a lot of times the marketing stuff falls to, the most junior guy, or you're the young guy, so you handle the internet, So it's interesting. And really, I think everything you've said really applies to that as well, especially about getting the positive momentum and everything. And everything you've said, if you do this, it will lead to this. So I guess in a larger sense, kind of what does success look like with a client of yours?
Well, it's a really great question because it depends on the client. But generally speaking, because social media, most people's frustration with social media is that it takes so much time and they get no results from it. So success is we define the results that they want. And sometimes that result is clients. Sometimes it's, I just don't want the black hole. Sometimes it's, I want to save time. I'm getting great results, but it's taking me 6 hours a week to do it. And I'm just stuck on Twitter. And then other times it's brand awareness or authority building. So it depends. We define that success up front. And many times they want all of that. And ultimately they want to get the butts in the seat. They want to get their clients to sign the retainer agreements. Mm-hmm. But we take these step by step to say, okay, we have a process in place. We want to shift. If you want to shift your practice, who do you want to meet? Then we start tweeting about that stuff, or we start sharing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to share content because not a lot of people are sharing actual content on LinkedIn. There are people who are very casual on it, but it is really, really ripe to meet influencers, really gatekeepers more than influencers, but to meet gatekeepers and some influencers. So what are the connections you're making? How many people do you have signed up on your email list? And then if it's a consumer focused practice, we can take that email list and target ads with an email, sort of an online marketing funnel, so to speak. And I hate using that word, but that's the word that they use for it. Sort of process to prepare clients and to get them to want to do more with you in an automated way. So it really depends. If it's a consumer focused practice, and we can use a personal injury type of practice or whatever as an example, they want to meet people, and that's one of those things. They need an accident, they need a slip and fall. So you post content about what to do if you have a slip and fall, or what to do, 10 steps to prepare your case, and simple things like that. You start posting news about settlements, big settlements, not necessarily even yours, but just settlements that are reported in the news or whatever. So people will start looking your way and say, wow, someone got $10 million for that. And then you want them to have an engagement with you, to share their contact information with you. So you prepare your website to lead your social web profiles to lead them to want something from you. And that might be, 5 ways to something that's relevant for car accident case. So how to know if you've been injured, or how to know if you have a lawsuit, or whatever it is. And the people who are really engaged will give you your email addresses. Your current clients, you get email addresses from them, and then you can target them with these things on with ads on Facebook to get them into a qualification. There's a thing called lead ads on Facebook, where it says, have you been injured? Yes. If you've one of these 3 things, click here. And they click here, and it pops up a thing on their screen, populates their Facebook information, and they confirm, yes, 1, 2, 3, that's me. They click, yes, that's me. And you get a message saying, hey, you got a new lead. And so it's all about what the person's looking to do, to how we measure success. Leads are a way to measure success. And then, brand awareness, you have more followers. More followers are okay if they're the right followers. If you look behind the curtain at the followers, you'll know whether you're doing the right thing. A lot of people buy followers. If you go to my Twitter feed, I have a decent amount of followers. I follow a lot of people back, but 51% of my followers have something like 1.5 or 1.1 plus million net worth. So I'm having the right people follow me for the services I'm selling. They're business executives, professional degrees, things like that. So it's really not just the followers, it's what followers.
Bro, Paul,
Yes.
do you have anything else? Because this is just like, I feel like this is a tasty sandwich that I want to put in a box and save for later. I mean, do you have anything else?
No. I'm everything here. It's amazing to have stuff that is so, like, you could just listen to what Nick says and go do it, and it's going to make things better for you as soon as you start. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. I love sharing this information because it's one of those things where I met someone who is a business coach, and one of her clients was a lawyer, and she told me he was spending $7,000 a month on one marketing tactic, and it was performing okay, but it was an SEO tactic that there's a $200 solution that's a longer term thing that could help over the long term him save all 7,000 of those dollars, because that 7,000, the second he stops paying it, the phone stops ringing. But if you can do the things, and that's why keep paying that 7,000. Here's $200 a month more that you can spend to start doing this stuff about to help you with your local listings, to get your reviews, and to make sure all of your local listings are accurate and consistent. Then when people search for you, they will find you more, because you're going to be on that map, especially if you're in a smaller area that pops up when people say criminal lawyer in, whatever, Woburn, Massachusetts. They will find you on that map, and you don't need to spend the $7,000 to get to the first page, because you'll be there anyhow with a lot of positive reviews.
Well, and I have one quick question from personal experience, because I was a marketing director at a law firm, and we were way in on TV, like to the tune of so much money. Mm-hmm. And have you ever worked with a client that had to get off that because it was like, if we stop running ads, the phone's going to stop ringing. And I said, well, then that's not marketing, is it? That doesn't sound like marketing. It just kind of reminded me of that 7,000. This law firm was spending times many more than that, because it is expensive.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with somebody to get them off of like the I don't know what it is. It seems like it's like a performance enhancing drug. Like you got to get off that, Lance Armstrong. Like, have you ever had to get anybody off of a big budget like that?
Fortunately, I haven't had the TV people come to me, although that would be really fun. So maybe it's not fortunate, because it would be really fun to do. So I haven't had that situation, but to them, what I would tell them is keep doing it until we build something else. And then you can taper that down as we ramp this up. I worked with, I do some writing with a dentist, and she did something in her practice where she had a TV ad, a newspaper ad, and Facebook ads sort of competing against each other. And one of her experiments, and this is when she was first getting started. Now she's a Facebook guru, but when she first got started, she spent $800 on a newspaper ad and got okay results. She made money off of it. TV was just worthless because she had no idea who she was targeting. Everyone has teeth, I guess most people. And if they don't, even better, they get the expensive stuff. So they just go on some sort of show, and you can't really target with them, right? So then she did Facebook ads, and the Facebook ads returned 1,500% of her investment. So she barely made money off of the newspaper ads. The TV ad was just a waste of time, and the Facebook ad returned a lot. So what she did that, and now all she does is Facebook. She doesn't even do other social channels, but because that's where her clients, her patients are. So what I encourage people to do is just the best part about social media is that it's quick and it's free to start, and the stuff that's not free is cheap. I'm working with a client who's a speaker, and he's getting leads for clients for book sales and stuff like that at 34 cents each, and through Facebook ads. And the way we're doing it is Facebook can send you a very simple piece of code, which I don't want to get too far into the weeds, because basically Facebook gives you something to copy and paste onto your website in the right place, and it walks you through every way to do it. So you put that in. It's called the Facebook Pixel. Then, as long as you make sure you have the right privacy policies and everything like that. But what that does is that allows your website to communicate with Facebook and tell Facebook everyone who visits your site. Then you can pinpoint ads to those people only, and only those people. So you're only showing ads to a warm audience. Imagine being able to show a TV ad to only people who know you already, or people who have called you or visited your website already. And then Facebook allows you to take that ad, to take that group, that audience, and then ask Facebook to calculate what is a more likely, still a cold audience, but it's called a lookalike audience. So they take all the demographics and everything like that, and you can say by location, by whatever. If you want to only have parents of tweens, you can do that, and you can really target people on Facebook. So what I would encourage the TV people to do is say, hey, let's just do a little bit of an experiment. Let's take 1/10 of your budget, and if they're spending thousands and thousands, I'd probably say 1/100th of their budget, and put it into some Facebook ads just to see what works. And then when we find that magic formula, we'll start taking money out of the TV and onto whether it's a Facebook ads. And that Facebook ads aren't great for everybody. It's for more of a consumer thing, and something where there's a demographic shift, or something you could, great, if you were an estate planner, you could probably make a lot of really great connections on Facebook, because you can target people by age, you can target people by lots of different ways to really get to people who would want to have a will or something like that. And family law, there's a way you could target people who are even likely to move if you're a real estate lawyer. So anyhow, I'm getting way too far into the weeds, but yes. So what I would tell these people to do is to just try it. Don't kill that goose. Just try social media. Start simple. Just post regularly, and then have your information communicating to social media channels like your email list. You upload your email list to Facebook, it populates an audience for that. You can make a lookalike audience for that. So you start targeting your ads to warmer people. Then you do the same thing with your website. Have your website communicate with Facebook, so that way you can put ads only to people who visit your website in the last 30 or 90 days. You can target people who have upcoming birthdays. If there's a 40th birthday, people who are turning 40 or something like that, you could target people who have upcoming birthdays and try to get them to rethink their will, or significant life events. If they're having a kid, you can target people like that, because Facebook knows way too much about everybody.
Yes.
Smart.
One thing we like doing too, you can kind of self-awareness plays into it. So like if you're talking about like retargeting there, so you can do ads that say like, still looking for a lawyer, you know what I mean? Like you can do that kind of stuff too.
Cool. So Nick, how can people find more about you? How can they connect with you online?
Well, this year I'm doing two things because three things. One is I'm doing some very limited consulting to law firms. So they could reach out to me at Attorney Marketing Institute. Or if they want some help with content book writing and getting into bookstores and stuff like that, we have some relationships with traditional publishers. So that stuff, just reach out to me at Nick at Attorney Marketing Institute, and I would be happy to talk to you. The other things I'm doing are education to help people become more informed consumers and even walk through some of the do-it-yourself efforts that bring all of these theories together. And that's the Attorney Marketing Institute Academy. So right now, at the beginning of the year, we have 2 courses up: social media for lawyers and how to design your year, really set goals, and not smart goals, but the smartest goals that take into account the human element. 3 things about the human element to marketing that most firms don't do. And that's why a lot of their marketing, a lot of their goals never happen. So I have those 2 courses up. These are premium courses. It's not, there's not all this, moving characters and post-production efforts in it. It's me at the computer with some slides and myself teaching everything, just like you're listening to me here. And that's a subscription thing. You can buy courses, you can buy a license to the course for a few $1,000s each or something like that. But what I'm doing is I really want people to build a relationship with me. So you can also subscribe and get access to all the courses as long as you are a member of that, as long as your subscription is active. And I'll be adding more courses. The next one I'm building is how to crush a conference, how to prepare, pick the right conferences, and go the right way so you can leave with leads instead of just a bunch of good feelings and no follow-up. So all of these things are being built in there. And that's a $500 a month subscription. It's only for people who are really serious about doing the hard work, or at least learning and being able to be a better consumer of services in the world and direct their social media people or direct their SEO people to focus on this type of marketing. So that's a $500 a month services. But if folks who listen to your show want to do it, I will if they put in a coupon code of LAWSOME, then I'm going to give them $200 a month off for as long as they are active in their membership. I want as many people to get this information, and I can't help everybody. So I want to really get as many people to learn in the academy, so that way they can reach out to companies if they're outsourcing, or do it themselves in a way that really builds something that matters to them. They're building something that will make them excited about going to work and all that stuff. And then the other thing, total freebie. I have a book coming out, and it's 365 2-minute marketing tips, what you can do in just 2 minutes a day to build your marketing momentum. And it's a simple thing as look at your Facebook profile, click on your image. Is there a link there that offers something of value to get them to give you their contact information so you can build a relationship? Or when they open the pictures, it's just a bigger picture. So if there isn't, just put a link there for a free consultation. Even if you don't have anything to give them, call this number or whatever. Most people because everyone who goes to a Facebook page will click on that image, even if it's your logo. Like almost everybody clicks on it, but no one has that as a way to pull people off of Facebook. So little things like that are in the book. And I have 21 of my favorites on a guide. It's a download, just a little PDF they can get for free. Just go to attorneymarketinginstitute.com/lawsome, and they can grab it right there.
10 questions we ask everyone.
All righty. Here we go. The hot seat. Nick, this is 10 questions we ask everyone. Number 1, what was the last book you read?
The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Right. Number 2, what's your best habit?
I am best habit. Wow. I don't know. I guess I would probably say that I am relentlessly optimistic, which means that I don't just wait for good things to happen, but I go make good things happen.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. Number 3. I have a feeling on this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, or none of the above?
For me, it is Facebook, although I really, really love Twitter. It's really close.
Agreed. Same. Number 4, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Nice. That is the correct answer. Number
Yep.
5, what is your favorite place?
Backyard with my kids.
Right on. Number 6, is Keanu Reeves a good actor?
He is not, but he's very handsome.
Oh, okay. Number 7, what was your first job?
My first job, my first real job. My parents own a little sandwich shop where my dad flips the burgers and my mom sells, really mom and pop shop here. So when I was 5, before school, I used to stand on a milk crate, which they had back then, and run the cash register. And they wouldn't let me put in the amount tendered, so I had to figure out the change. So I'm like a math genius at this point, and just because as long as it involves counting to $20 or $5 or something like that, I'm really good at math because they forced me to count back change. That was my first job. My first real job was I worked at a pizza place.
Okay,
Not
great.
as cool.
And, yeah. Oh, and still, it's all about serving people.
That's right.
Number 8, what is a skill you have outside of your current occupation that you incorporate into your work?
I incorporate into my work, storytelling. Definitely storytelling.
Nice. Number 9, what sites, blogs, or newsletters do you regularly check in with?
I spend a lot of time on 48days.com. It's a real well-rounded blog. It's all about matching your passions with your dreams and your work. I spend a lot of time listening to Russell Brunson's content. Marketing Secrets is his podcast. I love getting perspectives from outside the practice of law. So I spend a lot of time reading Russell Brunson's content, Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income, and I don't spend as much time on legal blogs. I tend to get my legal sort of, I'm not practicing law, so I'm just learning more how people are doing things from a law firm perspective as opposed to what's going on in the law. So for me, it's mostly 48 Days, Russell Brunson, Pat Flynn, John Lee Dumas. Those are probably the places I spend the most time, although it's kind of unfair because I spend a lot of time on clients' sites. So all my day is content reading and reviewing, and most of it is people I work with.
Right. Number 10, how do you unwind?
I play games that I make up with my kids. So we have, I play a version of Never Have I Ever with my kids to try and make connections with them. So we'll say Never Have I Ever. I don't say it. It's a truth or not truth. They're 6 and 8. So It's true or not true. And then we'll say something like, today I was scared, or today I was whatever. And then we raise our hands. We play silly games like that.
Awesome.
For show notes, links, and info, go to www.consultwebs.com/lawsomepodcast. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawsome.